Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 208 of FOP, everyone's favorite Motu podcast that we do every Sunday nights live for you to come in and interact with us. I'm Nathan Kennedy here with Joe Amato, and I imagine Joe's never going to let me do the intro again. Joe, how's it going?
Hold on, I gotta hit mute first because I don't want to hear that shit again. I accidentally forgot to turn on my audio. I was like, I don't want to hear the FOP said out loud, and then you had to say the MOTU. I think you're trying to piss me off more and more every week. But I'm doing great. I mean, I was great until I heard that. So, how are you doing? God damn it. Let me... quickly, I'm just going to acknowledge the people in the chat room. Then we'll get some of the news. It threw me right off when I heard that.
That was the whole point. I was telling Emily, I'm like, this is how I'm going to do the intro, and it's gonna throw Joe off.
And it did, because I had things I was going to say, and then I heard all the abbreviations said out loud, and just everything went out. But I want to say hello to DJ Tags, Adam Gabbert, Zentron, Grimbot's here, and I know more people will pop up during the show. So, well, for some of the new stuff, first I just want to mention, if you guys haven't got it yet, they got that really cool-ass Wind Raider Hot Wheels. In the package it comes in, it's a nice thicker card stock than the normal Hot Wheels ones. Like the regular, whatever, less than $1 Hot Wheels are pretty flimsy card backs, but these ones that are a little more expensive have a nice thick card stock. It has the art from like the Wind Raider from the vintage one. But what's cool is, they actually have where these wings move and the center head here, it spins. But everybody asked me, they said, does the grappling hook come off? Don't know. And I don't want to find out because I'm afraid of hey, let's see, and it snaps. So I'm not going to be popping that off. But that's a cool little Hot Wheels vehicle. And for people that love the ThunderCats as well, the Thunder Tank is out there. So, yeah, I hope they do more of these. And you said you've had no luck finding them in your area, correct?
No luck finding those, but my Walmart did get wave one of the Masters of the WWE Universe figures. I thought Triple H looked pretty good. I like the whole Skull King mask and everything. Yeah. The rest of them I could have done without. They weren't selling the first couple days I saw them on the shelf, but I went today, and all that was left was an Ultimate Warrior. So those sold, but this was also on the shelf, and I went ahead and bought it. I got the Gray Skull ring. It doesn't have the figures with it, but I went ahead and picked that up. So, let's move that.
And that was the Gray Skull ring was at Walmart?
Yeah.
And how much?
$20.
Oh, man, that's, well, I mean, I'm not saying, hey, you shouldn't have got it, but Walmart is the place that has the exclusive 2-pack with the 2 figures with it, and I think it was just $25, and I think it might even have been at some Walmarts clearance to $15 or $20, but still, that's cool. And the reason, which you have there, the only reason I wanted that ring is just for that amazing box art, because it has the Ultimate Warrior on it. The one that I have with the 2-pack doesn't have the Warrior, but that's some cool art.
Well, and Joe, maybe because I feel like I'm not going to have any use for the artwork packaging. Maybe I can fold it up and put it in an envelope and mail it to you or something so you have it.
I would that would be awesome. I appreciate it. And as for the figures, I think once you have them in hand and look at them, you get a better appreciation, because sometimes just seeing them closed up or mint in box, you just really don't, or mint on card, you don't get the really good look of them. Once they pop out and you start posing them, I mean, they are pretty cool. I think it takes that first one,
Yeah, seeing them on the shelf, I'm like, yeah, they look fine, they look great. I just don't have any interest in them. Like, I don't want a Finn Balor figure. I just don't.
I just think once, possibly, if you got them and looked at them, you're like, hey, I might want the rest. I don't know.
No.
But I know when we started, well, you never know. But when we started early, I know there was, I kind of went into that before really acknowledging the people. Before, like I said, later, we always get you guys when we do the Q&A, but I will still say to Febmon, Lee Heckle, Eric Amon, Zen Brown, thank you all for joining us as well. And Eric Amon did have a question, and what's up, JSP? He said, hey, why can't I send a super chat? Have you guys ever addressed that at all, or am I missing something? I'll be honest, I don't know if that's something that you have to have so many subscribers for, if you have to make it a feature. I've never thought about it because, like I said, I never thought, hey, let's make, I don't know. Go ahead.
I've never messed with it. I thought super chat had to do with if you had X amount of people in the chat and you use that to kind of slow it down so we could see it better. I don't know. I've never really messed with that.
I actually thought it was because of just maybe, they have hundreds of thousands of subscribers. We got about just 360 some or however many is,
Yeah.
which is cool. I love it either way because, like I said, I'm not no way discounting. I love everybody that subscribes and love everybody that interacts. But I think you got to be big.
More people subscribe.
Yeah, more people subscribe. Then you do a super chat, but I don't know if you can. I don't think you can. So, oh wait, let me see. JSP said it depends on the number of subscribers. Yeah, so we're probably ways away, but I appreciate that, Eric Amon. And somebody said, rest in peace, Eazy-E. That was DJ Tag said that. I guess he just noticed who's hiding back here.
Oh, they've already picked up on everybody being.
Did they?
Yeah. They're already like, I see Donkey Kong back there. I see Eazy-E. So. They already sniffed it out.
I missed it. Okay, because I start doing previews now. Hello, Gary Buchanan. But Eazy-E, the only thing left is just to attach his glasses and put Compton on his hat, and of course the little, paint details. The reason I've held him up, just to let everybody know, because the person I've done it for in the chat room, that's probably in the chat room. The reason I've held him up is every time I do a preview on Facebook of just Eazy, I'll have him just standing there, just a real picture of Eazy-E. Then somebody always says, "Oh, we're gonna do a custom," and then they start throwing the custom of Eazy-He that a person did years ago. That was a vintage one, which is a really cool custom. And I don't know if they're trying to say I'm copying somebody. And I'll just let you know, I don't copy anybody's customs. I love seeing other customizers work. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to copy somebody. So I was like, let me hold them back, and hopefully next time I post this, nobody will say that, or let it just kind of die down. This is going to be actually just Eazy-E as a He-Man figure. He's not going to be like just He-Man having the Raiders symbol and having a 40 ounce and a gun or anything. This is actually easy. Yeah, so this is completely different.
All right, well, so you're not going to have a 40 in his hand, or an accessory 40?
He's going to have an accessory. Probably. He has a mic in his hand, which I have downstairs. I made a mic, and there might be something else, but just to say, I love the work that vintage person did years ago of Eazy-He, but this is completely different. So in no way am I trying to rip somebody off. And then I'll show him this week. So, and of course, Donkey Kong, this is the latest custom. I'll be popping somewhere in just a bit. And he's a heavy sucker because that took so much resculpting. When I was going to first do Donkey Kong, I was thinking of using Moss Man, making the flock brown, but I was like, nah, you got to do the details. So I didn't realize they already picked up on both of them. Dipshit Zen Brown said, "Rest in peace, Laparca."
That's a real thing, Joe.
Oh, I thought he meant the wrestler. Wasn't there a wrestler named Laparca?
Yeah, that's what he's referring to. I was actually going to partially acknowledge it because it is slightly confusing. The one that passed away is a Laparca, but it's not the Laparca that everyone remembers from WCW.
Oh, because I figured he was saying this because of my mask. I thought he was just joking. No. I didn't know Laparca passed away. Oh, no kidding.
This Laparca that passed away, I want to say it's like mid-2000s. It turns out that AAA actually owns the name Laparca, so they put another person under the mask and called him Laparca, whereas the Laparca that we all remember from WCW took up the name L.A. Park. So he didn't pass away. It was the other guy, which is unfortunate. It happened. I want to say, from what I read, the end of November. He went to do a dive on the outside of the ring, but he sort of just landed. Like he hit the barricade, but also landed just smack face first at the same time, and it did some damage to his neck, and he suffered complications after the fact. So.
Well, what a way to just down the podcast at the beginning. Thanks, Zen Brown, for bringing that up. No, that's sad.
Well, that's the thing about pro wrestling. In an instant, you can be paralyzed, and evidently, as we've seen, worse. So, yeah.
All right. Well, we can try to transition into other news. Did you happen to get anything Masters of the Universe related or any other things? Because I know that everybody is starting to get their William Stout collection. They're finally starting to pop up everywhere with great looking paint apps, by the way. I mean, those actually look good.
Yeah, I'm really happy with how those turned out from the pictures that I've seen. I did get the shipping notification Friday, and if FedEx tracking is to be believed, I will have those in hand on Wednesday. So I got to figure out a place to put those. Joe, did you order them? You said you were going to. I'm going to go with you didn't. All right. Moving on.
What else was we talking about? No, Yeah, I'll eventually get them. Don't worry, I'm gonna get those. But they look fantastic.
Yeah.
It's just I was figuring, I'm gonna order them, and then I probably wouldn't get them. Plus, money wise, I wasn't sure. But I'm glad to see that the paint apps look really well. Some characters look like they still might have slightly shiny plastic. Doesn't look as shiny as the other ones, but that's easily, it's fixable. If you just have a matte spray, you can spray that real quick, and boom, the matte spray will take away that gloss look that some people don't like. But it looks like they at least nailed the face and the details around the eyes. And I don't know why. Just sometimes, usually on the women, they really screw up their eyes. I don't know. Maybe it's because there's no female in these four figures, so there's nothing to ruin. But I don't know. At least it looks like they were spot on, most of them. I mean, well, I guess all of them they did.
Yeah, I'm either gonna clear a space here in the glass case, or I might go buy a shelf to screw into the wall over here and have those set up because I want to like put them together. Maybe kind of replicate the artwork with He-Man fighting Blade, the Earl Norm work that was in the magazine for the poster. Maybe kind of have that with like the VHS kind of displayed with it. And I guess the other thing that I'll go ahead and show off is my sad vintage collection. Most of this was stuff that my parents would come across at flea markets because as far as vintage goes, I didn't seek it out too much, to be honest. I would see it all the time, but most of them were just covered in dirt and looked bad. But
let's see this horrible stuff. While you're doing that, everybody was at least mentioning that Pixel Dan said that the anchor cannot be removed. So thanks for letting me know. I mean, I wasn't going to touch that sumbitch anyways. There was no way I was going to risk it. But at least knowing confirmed yet wasn't meant to be, because there was no instructions on that, by the way, on the back of the Wind Raider package. It didn't say everything to do. So good to know. Thanks for the heads up on that. And my pleasure, DJ. Like I said, just putting on the glasses, putting on the Compton, and, the rest will be done. But yeah, I'm curious to see your collection now, at least in motion, because
I want to preface it. It's not down here in the office. It's actually, if you guys see this set of steps that's always sitting behind me, we have sort of like an attic with like it's sort of weird ceilings, but I got like all my vintage video game stuff up there, and it's just has like a retro feel up there. Anyway, I didn't try to brighten up this picture anymore. I sent it to Joe because I tried to take a panoramic shot, but the lighting up there is kind of bad. But Joe's like, oh, it makes it look like a vintage ad, so I guess he's going to use that.
He did. He sent me that picture, and when he sent the picture, I said, do you have like a feature like on your camera? I figured it was something to make it look old or some kind of filter, as they called it. He's like, no, just how. And I was like, that looks like an old-time ad or something. I was like, I might want to do something with that. The only thing that gives it away is that slime in the slime pit that I made for you. So, or hell, somebody could have thought maybe it was being slimed. I don't know, but I don't know what everybody else thinks, but does that look vintage? I love the graininess of that picture. It works.
Yeah. And the thing is, too, I have a few more figures at my parents' stored away somewhere. Like, I have a Gwildor and a Cyclone and a handful of others, but this is all the stuff that's here. And I was actually, because I sent this to Tyler, and I was actually talking to him about this. I think, now, some of it's going to be a process, but I think just once I got it all displayed and seeing the picture now, too, I'm going to go for a complete vintage figure collection. Now, they don't have to have their weapons, but I would prefer that they have all the armor that is required of them, because it's not seen here, but I do have a Clawful that I put up there, but he's missing his chest armor. So
okay, and as Adam Gabbard like to point out right there to you real quick, Battlecat doesn't have his mask.
That too. Yeah, so it's well, I mean, look, if I were to go and get some of these absolutely complete, let's be honest, some of these are going to cost quite a bit of money. So jumping on this train a little late, but it's
going to be expensive. No, I mean, either way, it could be cool. And try to catch the stuff and bundle things, but just always look for certain details. And I can't see it in the picture there, but when you do get a chance, check your Battlecat and see if he has stripes on his tail.
Okay.
Because that's one of the rare ones, and that's one of the. He's pricey. He's pricey. So just look to see if your Battlecat has stripes on his tail when you go to your collection later. What's up, Papa Huds?
Wait, what are you laughing at? You laughing at how sad this collection is?
No, I actually think that's great, and I'm glad that when you said you have a Cyclone at your mom's or something, kudos to you for not saying Cyclonus. For some reason, I hear that a lot when people call Cyclone. Like, yeah, they'll call him Cyclonus. And I'll be honest, I don't know of all the pop culture, all the other stuff from Marvel and DC. Maybe somebody can correct me. Is there a character, maybe Cyclonus, in some other pop culture fandom of comics or cartoons? I have no clue.
Yeah, yeah, hard to tell.
So you haven't heard it. You've never heard of a Cyclonus, then,
No,
right?
no, that's the first time I've heard it pronounced that way. So that is odd.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And as for any other recent news, I couldn't think of anything. There was, well, I mean, since William Stout's collection is, I mean, that's going to be shipping, I was like, well, what else is there really to wait for? Snake Mountain's still, I think, a ways away, right? For those who wanted Snake Mountain, I don't think that's anytime soon.
Yeah, I know Eric Amon's probably clamoring and waiting with bated breath since he bought like 17 of those. So
Yeah, he got a lot of them suckers, didn't he? Oh, I got everybody telling me that I guess Transformers, apparently there was a character named Cyclonus. So,
all right. Well, during Christmas, my mom was like, "Yeah, I got to buy your little cousin. I guess technically he would be my nephew, maybe, or just my straight up my cousin. I don't know." But she was like, "Yeah, I got to get him a Bumblebee." In my head, I'm thinking that that's Transformers, but it's not. Apparently, there's a character, like a female DC character named Bumblebee, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." It's like a doll. And that's what he wanted. He's only like 4, but that's what he wanted. And my mom's sister was like, "Why'd you get him that? This is like a girl thing." And she's like, "That's what he wanted, and I'm gonna get it for him." So.
Yeah,
It's weird
what he
how
wanted, yeah.
it's weird how sometimes they can use the same name with different properties and cause confusion, because it happens a lot with like Captain Marvel and
that whole thing with that's like your head exploding, all that legal back and forth stuff from DC to Marvel, who hasn't, and that's too much, and now let's just be Shazam. And Grimbot had to bring down the chat room because he had to mention that they had a preview of the Multiverse issue 3, and he said that Spectre apparently appears in that. I'm assuming he means the Mighty Spector. So thanks for that, Grimbot. That was a way to
can't wait to read that issue, and I imagine that comes out this week.
No, I don't think it's. Well, maybe it is. I don't know. I thought it was.
That's like the middle of the month.
21st. Okay, maybe this. Okay, well, it might be this week or next. Yeah, probably. Since if they're saying they have the preview, they usually do it right before it comes out. So probably.
Well, the 21st is a week from this coming Tuesday, so I guess the following.
There's a chance. Yeah. All right. But well, I was gonna say we'll get to the chat room later, so keep all your questions in the comments that we'll like to talk about after this part we're gonna do right here, because we're gonna discuss a story that you don't hear too often. It's Secret Files of Scrollos, and it's about Rio Blast. And, of course, Nathan will pop up pictures and stuff. But the reason I first wanted to discuss it is, it's just, I always say it's interesting how a lot of the stuff that was in the style guides or the Filmation Bible or whatever, never made it to either the cartoon or didn't even make it into mini comics. Shit, what the fuck is mini comics? But what we did was we'd get some of... Shut up, Nathan. You get some of the Filmation Bible stuff appeared in some of the Golden Book types of stories. And then the Style Guide stuff, that actually appeared in some of the Wonder Bread stuff. Like in the United States, we didn't get the story like what we're going to be reading and discussing here, the UK story, which I couldn't remember if that was translated from a German story, the German comics. I'm not quite sure. But either way, in the UK, they got it. It was translated. They have it. But what we did get for Rio Blast in the United States was, of course, the fastest straw in the universe, where just it seems like cowboys sitting around eating chili. You didn't really hear about an origin. Seemed like really kind of bland. Not a lot of people flipped over Rio Blast. I love him, but a lot of people said, what's a cowboy doing in Masters of the Universe? Right. And I'm like, okay, but then what's a bee character? What's a moss character? Merman? Any of them? It's fantasy, people. But did I just say? Wait a second! I just took a Tyler line where he always says people. I said it. Didn't mean to steal that, Tyler. But so the Wonder Bread cards gave us the first kind of something, at least in the United States, to know things, because again, we didn't know about the Style Guide stuff. And like for Rio Blast, it said name Rio Blast, role heroic transforming gunslinging, one man arsenal. And his profile says, as the sole survivor of a group of heroic explorers in a star band near Eternia, Rio has allied himself with He-Man in the battle against evil. He-Man has promised Rio to help him return home as soon as the warriors of Skeletor have been defeated once and for all. So kind of he's like He-Man's blackmailing, like, hey, you help us, win, then I'll help you get back home. But that was taken from the style guide information. But the style guide information, it had more stuff. Where just it described and went a little more in depth about Rio Blast. So we got a taste of it. But in the UK and other countries, they took that style guide stuff and ran with it to make bigger stories. Now, the story we're going to read, especially when we get to some parts, I was like, well, that wasn't in the style guide, and there's no way that would have made it in the United States. But I'll let you start off a little bit with your first thoughts on this, and then we can get going.
Well, I mean, you kind of answered some of the questions that I was going to toss out your way, because I know that there are a lot of side characters in Masters that didn't really get talked about a lot here in the States. So I imagine it was very eye-opening when you got on the internet and you were able to discover this stuff and notice that, oh, hey, there actually was like a proper origin story that was written for a character.
Yeah, I like lost it when I seen all this stuff, that came from other countries. And then knowing that, yes, they built upon what I was just saying, a lot of the style guide stuff. They took that and then they went with it and added more. But just the thoughts, because like when Classics came out, just a quick side rant, when they had like their little bio of Rio Blast and some of the things that happened in there, they thought all that was just bam, wow, that was all just created from Classics canon, where they didn't know some of that was again taken from the style guide stuff, existing things, and maybe even parts from maybe this story. Not much, because you're going to see some, but taking the parts of basically, I think mostly the style guide stuff, and then putting it in Classics. But this was a big one, it was an eye-opener, because it made you think, if these things exist in the United States, would fans have maybe embraced Rio Blast more? Because some people said in the chat room, he would have probably fit great with Bravestar, which I think there's even a reference that maybe when Tyler first heard Feridium or whatever that mineral was, I thought, isn't that a reference to something in Bravestar? There was something in this bio that I thought was a reference to maybe Bravestar, and hopefully somebody in the chat room could correct me. I don't have that memory for Bravestar that well.
Yeah, this would have been like, take it away, Tyler, and then we transition to Tyler who talks about it.
Yeah, because he's like, he said he's never really read and got into these. Like, I showed him some of these UK things, and still thought they were pretty cool, but certain things stood out for him. And I thought one time when I was telling him about this Rio Blast thing, and I thought I mentioned that Feridium, so they say it's Carium. Okay, well, JSP said Carium, so maybe Carium wasn't in this bastard. It was just Feridium. So, shit. Don't know. There. So, I had a side rant that made no sense, but at least...
Joe, I think it is pronounced Feridium.
Feridium?
Feridium. Feridium. Spelling bee
there is
time.
an I there. Okay, it's just...
Yeah, it blends in with the U pretty good.
Ah, okay, so it was Feridium. Okay, yeah. All right. Well, go ahead. What was your thoughts on me? And go ahead.
No, I thought that it's a cool little story. I know why they did it, but personally, I'm not a fan of just oh, hey, howdy, I'll chop some wood, and you can give me some of that milk right there. Like, I'm not a fan of that. It's probably just because I've grown up around it my entire life. I've lived around it my entire life, and I honestly I hate Southern accents. I hate that I sort of have one to some people. Yeah.
I didn't really pick up on it, but okay.
Yeah, I don't like the simplistic nature of how they're making them sound just because of like they're cowboy people,
Yeah, because in the style guide thing, I don't think they gave a vibe of the whole cowboy, because that is his biggest problem, unfortunately, is because of how obviously he looks like a cowboy. He's a cybernetic type cowboy.
Yeah.
And obviously in the mini comic, the way he talks. So you would have hoped that, when they did this in the UK and they made their story, maybe they would have it took the information but expanded in a different way, but they kind of went in a direction of cowboys and Indians. And like you said, in the way he's talking, I was like, this does not help his cause, because they're all talking like it's back in the cowboy times and Indians. But it's still cool to see an origin for them and other unique characters. But, because right here with the whole thing about them, how they're claiming and they're going for the Feridium, and
Yeah.
it's the new thing like gold. It's like gold fever, but in a different.
Yeah, it's like the gold rush. It's turning everyone against each other, making them greedy, etc., etc.
But you like seeing at least that Rio Blast, even before, getting the cybernetics. I mean, he's a man that wants to stand up and, defend and protect people. And you see him how he's practicing with shooting. He's a great shot. Again, a thing that was really emphasized in that style guide is how good he was at, boom, shooting. But then you see him training and weightlifting and getting his guns, having the lasso. I mean, he's ready to fight. Of course, I'll wait till you get to the next page. It's cool, but I like that he didn't look like Rio Blast before being called Rio Blast. Like Extendar. Remember, they were calling Extendar before he even extended. So kudos to them just calling him Rio first.
Yeah. Well, I do like this part on the second page where it says they destroyed, we're ruined, they've taken everything, and he's like, we're not finished yet. And then it's like cue montage of him becoming a badass and wanting to stand up.
Yeah, and you see, of course, this ominous character in the background who's watching and viewing this, and of course, wanting to conquer this world, and you find out who he's later, and I'm hoping, again, might not be able to catch it from the chat room because I don't know how many people, are from the UK, but even later for people, I want their comments because I want their thoughts of when they seen this character, what they thought, but we'll get to that part.
Yeah, so I went ahead and just changed not too long ago to the next set of pages, and obviously we'll just address this right now where if you look in the bottom left corner here, yeehaw, look at them engines go. It's like that doesn't hold up so well.
This I could. No, that didn't. I was like, yeah, when you guys were taking some of, American history to make this count, you took some parts that I don't even think this would have floated back in the 80s. I mean, they're making the Indians bad people. I mean, out of all things, okay, here's cowboys. Like, nah, I really don't think that Rio Blast is a cowboy. I think that's just a stereotype by looking at him. And then they throw the Indians here. It's like, well, you guys are sure going with it. And by saying that word down there, it's like, wow. So I guarantee this story would have never happened. They would have took the style guide information and went with something else. I don't think we would have got this.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But at the same time, even back in the 80s, it was still kind of prevalent, especially like in our commercials and things. Like I remember specifically the Native American that's standing there and people are like throwing trash and he turns around and the tear falls down his face. Do you
know that was an Italian guy? That was an Italian guy, too. He wasn't even Native American.
No, I didn't know that part. So, that makes sense.
Yeah. But this, I don't think we would have had that word. They definitely
they would have to change that around. And I think one thing that's also funny about these is the first and the last page are in color, and everything in between is just black and white. It's like sort of how it was last week.
With the UK annuals, and again, I don't know if that was just to save on money because, a lot of them had that where they went from black and white to color. And I couldn't remember if any of the later issues had a lot more color. But this is stuff that, when I see it, I love for somebody like Dushin that's, who always watches and joins us in the chat room. I love it if they ever went, let's say they went ahead with a project with Dark Horse. Like, hey, let's make a giant book of all these, issues. And they needed it all colored. I'd love to see his work. Yeah. I bet he could work his magic on this. I'd love to see that.
That would be really awesome if they went back and colored all of these pages here. I think it's cool.
Yeah, it would be great because... Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, just in terms of this, if you guys look kind of towards the middle, I like how each panel, this character's been just sort of mentioned, and then now that we're seeing more like dialogue, the face is still covered, so you're still, well, who is this? Who's the third man?
What the same thing with WWF back then? Remember the man? It was me, Austin. Is that what the third man was, or was that something?
No, well, I was thinking the NWO thing. With the hostile,
and that's when it ended up being
takeover
Hogan
match, and they were like, "Who's the third man?" And then there's also
it was Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, that infamous thing where Hogan's walking down. It's like, "Yeah, go get him," and then Bobby Heenan's like, "Yeah, but whose side is he on?" Yeah.
All right. But as for this,
I'm sorry.
No, but this, what I do like is at least everything, you see that Rio Blast is, obviously throwing a wrench in the plans, and he's stopping everything that's going on. He's trying to, again, take over, get the people to rise up to defend themselves, and then one of them kind of double crosses Rio Blast for some of that Feridium, and bam, the enemies,
Yeah.
boom, trapped him inside that mine,
The
crushed him, and he looks like he's
enemies.
basically
Yeah.
dead.
The enemies, Joe.
Yeah, the enemies, because I sure ain't going to say what's going on there. Let's just say enemies are there, and he's badly hurt. But of course, that Professor Maddock, the one that, looks like a crazy mad scientist, he's figuring, hey, I'll be able to save him. But I'll wait till you hit to the next
Yeah,
pages.
I'm kind of curious, too, why those other guys just didn't kick that other dude's ass. For, like, once he actually, once he admits the guilt, everyone should have been like, all right, well, you help us get him out of here, and then immediately they like try him. It's like, yeah, that's
he's like guilty.
You went against him, and they go ahead and like hang him, and then because that's what I imagine that's what they would do in this town.
Yeah, I don't think he would have been late. I mean, just off the hook so easily and so quickly. Like, it's okay. Like, I almost killed the guy. It's like, hey, I feel bad. Let's get him out of there. Okay.
Yeah, no, that there should have been some repercussions for that guy. But I I think the thing that I was getting out of this too, and I know that this what year did this come out? This particular magazine?
Jesus Christ. Was it, could you say maybe 86, 7?
I'm gonna look at
I don't know if it was 86 or 7.
Actually 1988.
88? Well, shit, that was way too early. 87, 88. Yeah, I forgot those things went on for a while. I think they had over 70-some issues in the UK their stories kept going, I think. Well, yeah, it was definitely well after I think it was done here in the United States. They kept it going there for a while. So yeah, I guess that was it.
So this will play into what I was going to say then, because this came out in 88. I kind of got a RoboCop vibe from that, Like they came and crushed him. Oh, we can make him better. We can put machines in.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah. So if that came out in 88, RoboCop's 87, maybe there was a little bit of an inspiration taken from that.
You never know. Maybe, there's always a possibility. But well, when you look at Rio Blast, you finally see that Mad Doctor does call him Rio Blast, and bam, he has the guns blazing. Again, he has the help of the town, though. Drives all the bad people away.
The enemies, Joe.
The enemies away, and then you see, like Rio Blast is like, he's got to go take care of the jail, because they have that jail that's floating up there, take care of the enemies. But then, bam, here's Horde Prime that pops up, and of course, I think that might have been the first time maybe you seen him. Not sure, but I thought that was his first debut in these comics. But bam, he destroys Laredos, and he's figuring he's killing Rio Blast, but nope. Rio Blast was out, and as you can see, he must be able to breathe in outer space. And boom, knocks him, a meteorite, knocks him to Eternia, which that was in the style guide. Mentioned a meteorite blasted him onto Eternia. And I think the classics, they tweaked it and said a meteorb knocked him. Maybe. I think it said meteorb, but that was in the classic saying. But this was the first time seeing Horde Prime. And as you know, in the cartoon, you've never seen Horde Prime. You only seen a giant metal hand. And I know that there were some cells that showed like what it looked like behind the mist, because it was a mist and then the metal hand. The mist, electricity, the darkness. I don't think what was in back was really meant to be Horde Prime. I always, in my head, thought of it as like some kind of throne. But this is my way of thinking. I always thought like how the Wizard of Oz, how there was the little guy that was behind the curtain, but making it look like there was a big menacing thing. I almost thought in my mind maybe Horde Prime was some weird demented, because as you know, Grizzlor presented him in the cartoon 2 ties, one for each head. So immediately in my head, there's a vision Horde Prime is some crazy 2-headed being. And maybe he uses this image to make himself look even more gigantic. But either way, we never got to really see him in the cartoon. But in UK, they got to see this. So I'd love to know first, if there's anybody in this chat room that is from the UK, what were your thoughts when you first seen Horde Prime? Did you think, oh God, that's weird? Does he look like one of the Sectars figures? Or does he look, kind of like a bug? Or did you love him? Did you accept him? Because I know when he was like unveiled to some people in the United States, like their big expectations were kind of like, oh, that's not what I thought he looked like. He looks silly. But I wondered if they loved him. And if they're not in the chat room live, I'd like it if they could just post in the comments below when they catch this video later. Because I didn't have a problem. Even, like I said, I didn't, when I first seen this, yes, we never seen him before in the cartoon, but when I first looked at this comic and seen it, I didn't think it sucked. I was like, it's different. I thought it was cool. It didn't make me think it was horrible, but I mean, I don't know. You don't really have a super attachment to Horde Prime, so I don't know. I don't even know what you think, Nathan. If you thought, he's bland, kind of generic, or what?
No, obviously no certain attachment, and you kind of what you just said was also again like questions that I was gonna ask, like the with this reveal, how was this perceived? Just kind of looking at it here, that's kind of tough to make a judgment on it just based off of just seeing this here in this comic because it's not super.
Do you think possibly for you? Okay, like I said, it's not super, I guess, amazing or imposing or I just something that catches your eye, but for somebody that maybe was watching the cartoon a lot and might have really been obsessed, almost like with Dr. Claw, you never really got to see Dr. Claw. So Horde Prime was our Dr. Claw. You never got to see him. So I think for those fans who are really on pins and needles waiting, maybe just, the wind was taken out of the sails. And for maybe people who just don't remember the cartoon too well and didn't care, they thought, it's all right. But me, yes, I always wanted to see what he looked like on the cartoon, but this didn't crush my expectations. DJ Tag said he's ugly, but I don't know. I didn't think he was that bad.
I mean, I could see that because with Dr. Claw and Inspector Gadget, I know that when they released the figures, you could actually see what Dr. Claw looked like, if I'm not mistaken. And I think I remember.
I didn't know that.
I think I remember being pretty disappointed by that. I think in terms like this, maybe some characters should just never really be totally revealed and seen. They could be like the Joe Amatos, just.
And and that's why I say, when people do say, "Why don't you take off the mask?" I mean, honestly, like I said, I've been doing the whole gimmick for years, from Facebook to now, of course, on YouTube. But it's nothing special. Just an average looking person. It's like, do you really want to see my face? I've never wanted to see, okay. For things like on Friday the 13th with Jason, I was awaiting every time in every movie. You started realizing, he's going to be uglier and crazier and looking in every movie. I wanted to see it. But there's some things like I never wanted a reveal for. Like Kane, I never wanted to see Kane unmasked. And when he was unmasked, it's like, oh, God, that's it. And then that's all you could remember. Even when he put the mask back on, it's like, oh, God, I remember that. Yes, we knew him as Dr. Isaac Yankum and the fake Diesel and stuff. But still, when he was Kane, it's like you just wanted Kane. I don't know. Sometimes you don't want to. I never wanted to see what Dr. Claw looked like. Right. Was I intrigued? Yes, but it's not going to meet anybody's expectations, I don't think.
And that's, I think that's the hardest part about revealing certain characters, especially once you go so long. I feel like now, if Joe were to take off his mask, everyone would just be like, "Oh, that's it." Well, he just looks like a normal guy. See, with the mask on, people could be like, maybe he is really just ugly. We don't know.
That's true. No, I mean, it's true. I mean, that's why I do it. It's like your expectations just won't be met. It's, like Zen Brown, because now we can get to, since we're done with this, anything you want to ask us in the chat room from anything, or just interact like we're doing, you can do it right now. But like Zen Brown said, this ruined the mystique of Horde Prime for him. So for a lot of people to think, and Grim, I'd love to know what you think. Wait, a background painting, not a cell. Oh, sorry about that, Grim. See, Grim got me. I'm sorry about that. See, I was trying to describe the stuff and the backgrounds, and he said it's a painting. But yeah, I'd like to even know what you thought when you seen this Horde Prime. Did you like it? Did you hate it? And do you ever want to see, or would you ever want to see what Horde Prime could have been in the cartoon? I don't even know if that was ever panned out. And if anybody know, it'd be him, because him and James, they have all the information with that stuff. I'm curious if it was ever going to be a plan to finally show him. But I'm glad we never did get to see him in the cartoon.
And I want to go ahead and throw that out there, too, to anyone that's catching this after the fact. Leave a comment down below and let us know what you think, because I'm actually going to read some of the comments we got on last week's video. I figured that could be a thing that we start doing to kind of entice more people that aren't necessarily in the chat room every week. We can read some of their questions and comments. We got here from Andy UC. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Great episode. Never heard such a dark Motu story. He did say Motu. He didn't write it out.
I think he did it to piss me off. Andy UC was a guest before on our show, and I think he did it just to piss me off. But go ahead.
I want a copy. Also, had no idea NYP He-Man was Cam Clark. Oh my God, I worked with him on a movie in 2007, 2008, and I would have loved to have known this. It's probably better I didn't know, as I had to be very professional for that project, and that knowledge would have turned me into a total fanboy.
Isn't that's crazy? That's cool though. And also, I know that we've been getting, just to acknowledge somebody that's always been commenting on a lot of our videos as of late, is Blue Haired Lawyer.
Well, yeah.
Never shout out his name. I wanted to, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna read a couple of the comments that Blue Haired Lawyer left. Thank you guys for actually acknowledging that Motu also wrote it that way. Canon is all over the place. Some is dark and serious, some is kiddie and silly, and there's everything in between. And I think that's kind of what you want with any property that you put out there. You don't want it to be overly serious and dark. You gotta have at least
overly kiddie either.
Yes, yeah. You gotta find like a good balance that sort of pleases everybody, and
true.
They do a good job at that. Blue-Haired Lawyer also said, I would love for the European Motu comics to be reprinted in English by Dark Horse. I've seen bits and pieces on the org, and what little I saw looked freaking awesome. There was an Italian comic that had a giant woman in it that fascinated me.
Yeah, they had a couple different things. I think they even showed Megator in one of those Italian comics, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know what the hell was going on. I couldn't, read it. I mean, just because I'm half Italian doesn't mean I have to read it, but I didn't know what was going on. But Megator was in.
That is your obligation, Joe. You have to, because you are Italian.
Well, someday. But now I want to, before we get back to some of your comments, Zentron said, still better than the recent Horde Prime design. Grimbot said he hated that the design here in the UK comic. DJ Tag said, can I send him a pic of Eazy-E in Facebook? I will be sure to get that to you. Grimbot also said, if he's to be revealed, he should look similar to Hordak as they are related.
That would make sense.
Just not in the... Yeah, and that's the thing with, like, the figure. We got... when they did Horde Prime as a figure, I think they had this head, but they had an alternate head that was kind of like Hordak, but different. I don't know. I wasn't feeling the classics figure of what they did with Horde Prime. And I sure ain't going to mention, because I never watched it, with that new She-Ra cartoon. I didn't continue. Apparently, Horde Prime appeared in that, and that was a hot mess, at least from what people said. And DJ Tag said Scott's enjoying the show. He even laughed earlier when I mentioned the ugly comment. Zen Brown, a good little point to bring up, because you know how you said a cartoon shouldn't be overly serious, and it shouldn't be overly kiddie. It should be a mixture in the middle ground. And Zen Brown just said overly kiddie like the ThunderCats roar. He said that's bullshit. Yeah, I said that. I had to cuss, but I'm reading what they're saying right there. Oh. And so did DJ Tags. Now that's not, again, we as fans have always had opinions. Like I said, back in the day when the New Adventures figures were in the stores, hated them. I was like, what the hell is this? This ain't He-Man. Mm-hmm. Didn't make me a hater. I'm just a passionate fan of those things I like. And if there's somebody that liked New Adventures, good. I'm not going to piss all over them. So when people are saying, I don't like ThunderCats Roar, again, don't say, oh, it's not for you. What do you think's going to happen?
Right.
When you hear ThunderCats, you're obviously going to, bing, you're going to be, getting the attention of all the fans that grew up with it.
Yeah.
But it's sad that this is the level of cartoons that they're giving to kids. Like, instead of treating them like young adults like they did us, because remember, the original ThunderCats, that was for kids, but young kids, teenagers, adults, they could all watch it and enjoy it, because it didn't seem like it was talking down to you, making it too kiddie, too silly. It was a good cartoon, just like Masters and Princess of Power. But this ThunderCats Roar, which I did watch on the Cartoon Network app, there's 2 episodes. It's part 1 and part 2 of Exodus. It felt like they only were like 5 or 7 minute episodes. They weren't long at all, but it actually just seemed like, believe it or not, more of a mocking of the original cartoon. They actually had the music from the original ThunderCats they would do, but man, things just went, it was so over the top silly. Even as a kid, I couldn't picture a kid laughing. They were just lame, lazy jokes. Like, there was no effort in the writing. And talk about changing characters. Snarf's now a robot. I was like, all right. It was bad. I mean, it was bad. And I can see why they didn't really give a lot of advertisement for it, because it secretly just snuck in under the radar. But our one buddy Thomas did say that Cartoon Network promoted it, I guess, on their Twitter, kind of silently, but nobody knew about this thing.
I mean, when that trailer for it came out and the backlash was so bad that they had to take it down, that tells you a lot. I'm not going to watch it. I watched the first season of that Netflix She-Ra show. I wish I hadn't, to be honest. If people like it and think that it's funny, all the power to you. I'm not going to check it out, because it just seems like a smack in that one actually seems like a smack in the face. Like, yeah, the Netflix She-Ra is bad, and I feel like ThunderCats Roar is way more of a disservice to that fan base than Netflix She-Ra.
I mean, I'll agree. I'm not exactly. I mean, I absolutely agree with what you said. I mean, I'm not a fan of Netflix She-Ra, but that was at least doing a story or something. Did it have a lot of silly? Does it have a lot of silly stuff? Sure, but Thundercats Roar, it's like it felt like there was just zero effort in that cartoon. It felt like just nothing, no passion, no love, no service. And I'm not saying like you always have to get fan service.
But Man Bun in that video, he had the DVDs sitting on a shelf, so he knows, right? Yeah, that's how that works.
Which he said, remember, it was, and I think that explained it. I think that's why he said that in the interview way back then when he said Thundercats has always been based around humor. Like, no, Thundercats hasn't always been based around humor. But I think I know why he said that, because when you watch this, that's all it is. You can't take a serious moment at all. By the way, Mumra is a super giant. He's bigger than his damn pyramid, where he's sitting, to where he barely fit. And then when he gets out of it, he sits on Cat's lair like it's a throne. It's like, oh my head, dear God. Sorry, I didn't mean that rant, but
no,
it
was something that needed to be brought up anyway. Maybe I can go ahead and edit that into the title of the show, so maybe that'll get some more eyes on it as well. If you dig it, cool, but man, I especially with the promotion from Cartoon Network, because they're kind of bad at doing that in the first place anyway. If they're just sort of barely doing it, I don't see any hope for it moving forward. And I
think it started on the app, and I think eventually it's supposed to, again, what Thomas said, I think it's going to maybe next month pop up on Cartoon Network. But I think he said almost everybody that's involved, everybody that's supposed to be involved, I think, with Thundercats Roar are already involved with another project, so that pretty much can spell out that,
good. Let's just wash our hands of it and just pretend like it never happened. That would,
and that's gonna be. Think of that. That's the thing. See, instead of trying to capitalize on things that you think, okay, kids are all into the goofy humor, kids will like this, why don't you try to make something that's timeless? I mean, think about the original Thundercats, He-Man, She-Ra. That is stuff that we have been keeping alive for over 30-some years. It's something that you can still, as an adult, go back, watch, and enjoy, and you don't feel like you're watching a 3-year-old cartoon. Because, yes, did we have cartoons that were fun and humorous back then? Yes. And then we had serious ones. But this, guaranteed nobody is going to celebrate Thundercats Roar in 30 years. It won't be in 10 years. It won't even be in 2. Yeah. Nobody's going to want this. It's forgettable. It's so bad.
It'll be an afterthought for sure. There's probably some people that didn't even know that there was a Thundercats show in 2011. So that goes to show it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Well, it's the same thing with NYP. That some people be like, "What? That happened? I don't remember that." And it's
true. A lot of people didn't know about the new He-Man or Thundercats.
Zen Brown's all right. Zen Brown is apologizing. It's like, sorry, I brought it up, guys. No, it was a good thing. We were probably going to get around to talking about it anyway. And
that was going to be during the Q&A or just in the random part. Yeah, I was going to bring that. I was going to bring it up because I wanted to say again, yes, I watched it. I wasted 10 or 12 minutes of my life watching episode 1 and 2. It was so quick, but I just don't like when there's no effort. When you want to try to give something that could be timeless, just not to capitalize on a moment or something you think people are loving, but really try to put an effort into something that hopefully this is something that can be celebrated years and years to come. And that's what you think all things.
And maybe they're not thinking that way anymore, though, because in a day and age where anyone can watch anything at any time, why put that's why reality TV is so prevalent these days on television, because it's cheap to produce and people just mindlessly watch it and they don't really care too much. They're just watching it just to watch something. So, maybe that's why that they don't put any effort at all into it. But hopefully these 2 cartoons that we're going to get either this year or next year, or if we get one this year and the other one next year, whatever the timeline of this is going to be, hopefully it is something that can be timeless, that people will remember. But I don't know.
You never know.
I mean, entertainment's in a weird spot anyway, right? Like movies, it's just remakes and more comic book movies. If you look at movie posters themselves, it's all just a lot of floating head Photoshop jobs. Like a lot of
I hate them.
A lot of that effort and talent that it took to present something like the original Masters cartoon or Thundercats, G.I. Joe, original Transformers, etc., like movie poster art, like actually used to just be like paintings. And that's
Yeah, and
all.
it meant something. You
Yeah.
wanted to get it and frame it. It's like nowadays, this stuff, like I said, it's all Photoshop pictures of the actors. It's so lazy and uninspired. It's like, think about, we said this before. We did on Beyond Retro, you, me, and Tyler back in the day. But think about even horrible movies that you would just go to rent. They would even do amazing box art for those just to make you go to pick it up. So it might be a real shitty movie, but it's like, damn, that's an awesome poster. But even the movies that were great, they still had beautifully painted pieces. It's like, I want to frame that. It's like, do you want to buy and frame anything of an actor standing there with a gun or just, it's like, oh, that's exciting. You don't want it at all.
Everything just had so much care put into it. And even then, if you go and look at, from what I've seen in the documentaries on Masters and even like Ninja Turtles and stuff, it was just like a small little idea that simply grew from there, and it sounded ridiculous to them at the time, but it was something new and fresh, and kids actually clung to it, but they actually also put in the effort to tell good stories and have good dynamics and life lessons and things that it could actually teach you. It wasn't just here's a bunch of bright colors and mindless action. There was reasons behind it, and that's why we're sitting here talking about all this today.
Exactly. And it just makes you wonder what will people talk about years from now.
It's
depressing. Yeah, it is. It's
depressing. Like, how many people are going to be like, oh, yeah, man, Avatar. Like, no. Like, the only thing people really remember about Avatar is that it made a lot of money at the time, and that was it. People don't really even talk about it anymore, and yet James Cameron...
And, that is one of the...
We got 7 more Avatars coming out. It's like...
Well, it's one of the biggest money makers out there, but you're right. No, not a lot of people talk about it. I mean, it was a really eye-catching visual movie. It was good. I'm not saying it's a bad movie, but you don't hear much discussion. But yeah, it's just, well, hey, you know what? I know I've probably not seen a lot in the chat room. I'm gonna see what I see first. I think I see a question from Papa Huds. So Joe and Nathan, if there were to be a Masters movie, and I love how you said if there were to be, because, we've been promised one for so long that still hasn't started shooting. It's going to be out next year in 2011 in March, but whatever. How would you like it to be? Well, again, I would just like them to take, original source material. Don't stray too far. They're going to have design changes, obviously, but again, don't fill it with tons of jokes, and don't make it too dark to where everybody's getting decapitated and arms chopped off. But have a good origin, not to where we're showing the origin of everything. It doesn't even need to be needed. Right. Hell, it's basically set out in the intro of Filmation. Yeah. You could have like a little prologue right at the beginning, and then bam, right to the stuff.
That's what I was going to say. If you just kind of, honestly, if you wanted to just in your own way recreate that intro, just to have like a bit of a prologue there, and then just go straight into something, that would be the best way to go about it.
Get right into it.
Yeah, PG-13, there's no need to like have it be overly like violent and gory. Just tell a good story. Have dashes.
I mean, but they can have some good battle scars, some good fights. I mean, yes, we can have the stuff, but it doesn't have to be over the top.
Yeah, you can have a little bit of blood, but we're not wanting like Conan the Barbarian like on the screen. Like
we don't need two bad split in half. Do I have to say this again? We don't need two bad split in half. But yes, has some battle scars, some wounds. Have them in some dire situations, but. It would be nice to have just a good action movie with a good story.
Make it fun. Like, you have a plethora of episodes from the animated series, stuff you can pull from many comics as inspiration to use towards your story. Like, do something like that. It's all right there. The material is there.
No doubt. So you have it. So don't...
That's
right, put it on the screen. Don't try to reinvent. Yeah, it's like I said, what are they trying to do? They're acting like this. There's not source material of over 30 years of history they can use. It's like they're thinking, what should I do? What should Skeletor be? It's like, it's right there.
That's right there.
Yeah, just go to the material and then write a new story. And then Grimbot, what's funny? You say what I was going to say earlier, but it's when we were talking about the 2 He-Man cartoons, I think exactly what he said is going to be the case. He said the CGI one, he says will probably stink. And which I'm thinking, yes, it's probably going to be the more kiddie version. But he's like me. I'm hopeful that the Kevin Smith one doesn't. I'm hoping Kevin Smith. I got my fingers crossed. I'm hoping he does that justice. He's somebody that I can have some faith in, and hopefully doing a good Masters of the Universe cartoon. So crossing fingers, he does. But I agree with you, Grimbot. The He-Man one, that's the CGI one. That'll probably be more lighthearted. But God forbid, don't go ThunderCats War on it. Please don't go ThunderCats War.
Yeah, hopefully not. That would be. Yeah, I think we'll all be shedding a few tears if that's the case. Well, we'll see
Yeah,
what
'cause then
happens. I mean, it's exciting, but also definitely overly cautious. Like I don't. I'm not sitting here thinking, oh man, everything's gonna be great. Because let's face facts, the way Hollywood is now, we'll be lucky. We'll be lucky if one of these three things. Yeah, I'm gonna include the movie and lump that in there. We will be lucky if one of the three things turns out to be pretty great.
now, I'm glad we've been, doing the podcast for about 5 years, because even since 5 years ago, anytime the movie was brought up, I tell everybody I'm not really excited until it actually happens, and they'd always say, "Well, Jesus, Joe, they're saying it's going to happen." I'm like, "You guys don't know how long this has been going on.
Yeah.
Trust me." I think more and more people have gotten familiar. Like, okay, Joe's been saying this for about 5 years. I've been watching the show 5 years. I think he's onto something. So I think even their excitement level of the movie's going to happen, it's not there. They realize if they see a preview of it in the theater, or they're actually starting to where they're shooting it, then they might think, okay, this will happen. But
Yeah.
I think people have finally realized why Joe says what he says all the time about it.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think too, like Hollywood being cautious about wanting to do a movie and why it's taken so long, because they're afraid of it too. If the budget gets too high, then you got to worry about, will this be relevant enough for people to go and watch, and we can make our money back. Like there's a lot, and I get it. I totally understand it.
Sure.
Totally
Yep.
understand.
Well, no, indeed, and I agree. Zen Brown said he cringes for both the Netflix He-Man shows. Well, maybe cringe one, Zen Brown. I think the other might be pretty good, hopefully.
Yeah.
JSP said, I think producers are also looking at attention spans, how short they are. That may be why a DC direct-to-video movie is less than an hour and a half. So, yeah, I mean, you never know. Some people's attention spans, I don't know. I mean, heck, even people's just the thoughts of hearing story is too much for people sometimes. I think that's why I said a lot of the stuff, like you were saying, Nathan, on TV is all reality stuff. I mean, in the 90s, they had like the Real World and all the stuff on VH1 and MTV, and then everything just became reality.
Yeah.
It's like, and everybody's watching. I think that's why everybody's so damn obsessed with relationships and not stories in movies and cartoons. Like, I don't give a shit about who gets with who in what cartoon or what movie. I want to see some action, some powers, adventures, stuff that doesn't happen in the real world.
Yeah, Joe wants
but when
some
they're raised
action.
for that's
Joe wants action.
yeah. No, I'm just saying, when that's all you see on TV, I guess that's all you're going to know. It's like, so when they're like, hey, I'd love to work on a new thing for He-Man or She-Ra or Marvel or DC, but they don't know about why we've always loved the action, adventure, fantasy, and escapism from Earth and things that can't happen of amazing powers. They only know relationships. So like, hey, let's have this person be with this person. It's like, I don't give a shit. So that's that quick rant. Let me see. Too much CG, as good as some as it looks, can't beat the old art. No, you got that right, Gary Buchanan. Mike Shamp said, I'm back. Sorry for not being around. He said he's moving. DJ Tag says, Nathan, I see you have a few loyal subjects, Masters of the Universe. You notice I said Masters of the Universe. I pronounced it.
Hey, I got some Motu loyal subjects back here. I got them for cheap. I found them at TJ Maxx. We got 2 Trap Jaws, which are actually like different colors. Oddly enough, I think it was like where it went from wave to wave. I think the colors changed on some. So 2 Trap Jaws, Triclops, Evil Lyn, and a Beastman. And if you guys notice, like the shelf is empty right there because I took the vintage figures, put them up there to fully display them. I got to move some other stuff around, so that's why it's looking kind of barren and sad over there right now.
All right, and Lio Convoy joined us, and I gave a shout-out to you, Thomas. I gave a shout-out to you earlier so you can catch what I said. So if anybody knows anything about ThunderCats, it's this man here. Talk about somebody how, we try to get hardcore research and everything in Masters. This is the guy's answer to ThunderCats. So you can go to his channel, like, subscribe, and share, and do everything for his channel as well. The guy knows a lot of stuff. Papa Hood said, if there were to be a Masters movie, do not have a Zack Snyder direct it. He'll make He-Man into a mass murderer. Nope. Look what he's done with Batman and Superman.
Those movies are absolute garbage. Adam Gabbert said, I'm thankful that Joe spoke what he thinks of the McDonald's Motu toys on Scareglow's house on Facebook. But what is Nathan's thoughts on the toys from 2003? This is specifically to the McDonald's toys?
I don't know if he means maybe he just means the actual figures. I don't know if he means the McDonald's figures. Maybe he means just these 2000. As again, let me say this real quick. 2000X, because I've heard some people say 200X. No, it's 2000X because it's referring to the timeline of the 2002 to 2004 wave of toys. So it's easier just to say X, just like when we say, hey, I love the 80s toys. But you can't say, I love the Zeros toys. That would sound weird. So 2000X refers to the year. So, but go ahead, back to you.
Well, I honestly barely remember the McDonald's toys. I remember Tyler being excited, wanting to go get a Happy Meal just to get the box to have. From what I recall, Joe, you can kind of chime in after I say this. Like most Happy Meal toys, it seemed a little uninspired.
Of the you said the 2000X figures. Is that what you're saying?
Well, like the McDonald's, the Happy Meal toys.
No, I'll be honest.
I mean,
I freaked out.
Were they great? I'm actually gonna look them up now because I honestly don't really remember them too much.
Hold up a second.
Let me bend down right here. I actually have the entire collection just laying here right beside me. Go figure.
Well, I'll open one for you just to show you. But
one.
These figures
live unboxing.
Yeah, because this is a live unpackaging. This is a MIP. I'm gonna open a MIP live, mint and package. How fucking dumb does that sound? You like it?
Oh wait, all right. So it's just like mini figures. I see here we got He-Man, Orko, Battle Cat, Man at Arms, Ram Man. Is that Skeletor?
Just to let you know, though. Yeah, Skeletor. Just to, and they let you know, the Orko looks drastically different from obviously the actual figure, and Ram Man's slightly different. But I like the features. Like Ram Man has a headbutting feature when you squeeze on it, and Beast Man, he's got his whack-off feature. See there? See?
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah.
He comes with a whip, but I just couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, look at all the detail for like, I remember I was just buying the figures. At that time, I think they were doing it for like 85 cents or something back in that time. I was just getting a bunch of them, but I remember I tried to ask somebody, I was like, are these sculpted by the Four Horsemen? And I don't think anybody ever answered me. I don't know if they know who sculpted them, but these are the coolest damn McDonald's toys that I ever got.
Yeah,
I was super impressed.
For some reason, I was thinking that it was just one of those things where it's like, all right, you have He-Man, he's just molded onto Battle Cat, and it probably has the feature where if you pull it back, it'll like scoot across the ground. That's what, in my head, that's why I was thinking that they were. But no, to see him here, like, that looks cool, and to Adam Gabbert to kind of elaborate a little more with the MYP figures. Like, I actually went out and collected those. Tyler and I were going out. I remember when I found Mechanic in store, and Tyler didn't have them yet, and there were a couple of them like, I got you one too, because I this is back before like texting and everything as well, so I like called him on our phones because we did have cell phones. But I called him. I was like, hey, man, I found Mechanic out here at this Walmart. And he's like, oh, man. I was like, but they had two and I got you one. He's like, oh yeah. So
that's cool.
That was kind of cool.
I missed the hunt, man. I mean, that was a fun time because didn't experience that in years,
Yeah, and I'm kind of hoping I can sort of feel that way when the Origins figures come out, because I decided I am going to go ahead and get those just to have them.
Okay. And that's why I think, really, honestly, once you get one, if you just got one of the WWE figures, like when I got it in my hand, because I admitted, I was like, yes, I always wanted them. And I got from the 2-pack, I have Cena and Triple H, which those figures, but just looking at the bodies when I was starting to move them around, I was like, I can see how cool these are going to be when they have the Origins for Masters of the Universe, but even the rest of the WWE ones, I was like, I can see the appeal. It just takes that one to hold in your hand. And you're like, it's a little bit better. I know some people don't flip over them, but once you get them, they're pretty cool. And definitely when Origins comes, it's going to be great. But I just want the WWE ones because beyond a set for myself, I mean, they are great for customizing. There's no doubt about that.
Oh yeah. Now, see, in terms of that, like, I can see why you would want those quite a bit for the customization. I've seen some of it on either the fans page or one of the other multiple Masters groups that I am a part of and get invited to on Facebook. I can see it from that aspect, but looking at him in Storm, like, Warrior looks cool, but I would probably just take all the armor off of him and just have, like, an Ultimate Warrior that I could pose.
I love the crossover, but don't get me wrong. Yeah, I could see just having the wrestlers in the He-Man style be cool. It's like that's the same thing, unfortunately, with the Funko figures that a lot of people said. Like, when they seen the horror characters, they're like, remember, I was always doing the crossover stuff with Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers in a He-Man style, but they looked like they did in the movie for my customers. They loved it. And when the Savage World ones came out from Funko, everybody said, I don't get the gimmick. Why do they have to look barbaric? And I was like, they're doing a crossover. I liked it and appreciated it, but some people didn't like it, didn't want them. Mm-hmm. ThunderCats, at least they did it in the style, but a lot of people said, the hell, ThunderCats should be bigger. I mean, there's ThunderCat fans that like them, but a lot of them like the scale. Like, I was one that when Classics came out, and remember the whole thing with Bandai and them releasing the smaller ThunderCats figures, and they're like, oh, they're too small. They should be in scale with He-Man. It's like, why the hell should they be? They never were when we were kids.
Right.
Mumra, I mean, all of them were bigger than He-Man figures, and Mumra towers over everybody, but it's like, the ThunderCat figures, they're bigger characters, they're bigger people. They should be bigger. But when Classics came, like, no, they should all be in scale. And then they tried to make, I think, a bigger 8-inch Lion-O, and then that was too... Wait, it was an 8-inch Lion-O was too big. And they said it should be smaller. And then I think they made them, into 6-inch, which those sucked. But that was, I think, the Bandai or some shit or Mezco. It's like my head exploded with that. But I did like their 8-inch versions of Lion-O and Tiger. I was like, I didn't have a problem with them. I like the scale.
Yeah, I had those as well, and I actually just got Wave 2 of the Funko ThunderCats in the mail this week and displayed those up top with Wave 1 in my mini cat lair and my a couple of the other vintage figures that I own.
I think they're cool.
I think it I don't have it. I think it looks awesome, and for people that would want them to put, since they are into scale with the vintage Masters figures, they look great on the shelf standing next to those as well.
No, they do. Like I said, I like that line. I can appreciate it, but again, you're right. I don't think everything has to be in scale with certain things. It's just like Lyle Convoy, because remember, he's the guy who knows shit, but he's like, people want all their figures in scale with other toy lines are in an arrested development. And I don't know, he said, Nathan, I need to know. He's got a question. You might as well get ready to read it. It's coming to you. I think he's holding us on for a second. But,
yeah. Well, Joe, go ahead and we can't have you wrap up yet until we'll take what he's got to say here and then we'll wrap it up. But yeah, it is kind of funny how Zen Brown's kind of disappointed that I bought the ring and you want those figures. I'm not buying any of those figures. I just want to stress that. I got the ring because I think the ring will be cool to put vintage Masters figures in. Sort of like a side thing, like, here's the deathmatch arena. Just
yeah. Well, there's your question from Lyle Convoy. He's got that question for you because I haven't got the figures yet for Wave 2.
Does Jackalman from Funko look like Danny DeVito to you? I haven't.
Did you say you got the figures in the mail?
Yeah. I got them.
Go get them. I got to see this now. I got to see it in person because.
No, because they're here. Let me do this.
Okay.
It's going to be kind of unconventional, and sorry that Emily's phone. I'm going to message her because I took a picture of it and sent it to Tyler, and sorry that there's like some dust bunnies hanging on the wall. I actually need to like dust the wall off. Let me get this sent, and then I'll save it, and then
Is Emily in the house?
She's in behind the door, probably sitting on the...
Wake her up! Tell her to go and get that figure and bring it in. She can have a live appearance on Fans of Power.
Joe, the figures are right here. All I need to do...
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to go grab them. I'm just going to save this image. Oh, man, that dust looks really bad. And then I'll import it here on OBS so people can actually... I'll just...
All the time you just fucking did doing that, you could have grabbed the figure. Unbelievable.
No, Joe, I'm not like you. I'm not going to sit here and go...
Everything's right by you. Hey, look.
Yeah.
I have this. The fridge is right next to me. I can get a drink anytime.
Bam. There we go.
Yeah, Anthony Albanese, you're right. Deathstalker, awesome VHX box cover. You got that right.
Yeah,
finished. And the movie wasn't that good.
Ignore the dust that's kind of hanging there from the curtain. That looks kind of gnarly. Apologies for that. No, he doesn't really look like Danny DeVito to me.
Danny DeVito? Wow. Can you zoom it in on him? I don't have this. I don't know. I got to see this up a little closer. Is this must be the thing? If he said look at him from the side. Oh well, we can't, Lio Convoy, because this is a picture here, and he doesn't have the figure, so we won't be able to see it from the side, unfortunately.
No.
But thank you for bringing that up, Lio Convoy. Damn,
Yeah.
Nathan can't grab it.
Oh, whatever, Joe. Whatever.
Son of a... Here, let me show you that. All right, I'll have to. Yeah, now you'll have to do it, Lio Convoy. You have to put it on Facebook for us to see. I got to see this Danny DeVito.
Yeah, I honestly don't really see it, but you know.
Well, it might be, I don't know, maybe, but well, I think we pretty much we hit everything we were going to do tonight. And it was some good fun interaction with all you guys. So if you are new to this channel, make sure you like, subscribe, share, ring the bell so you can always be notified when we do go live. It was a great time, and until next time, have a powerful day.
There was a tournament to crown the first NXT champion. Who won that tournament, and who did they defeat to become champion?
No, not Bo Dallas. Who's that fucker? The one that does all the spinning flips in the air. With the ears that kind of stick out. Is that him? What's his name? Isn't he Pac in the AEW right now? Or
no.
Damn it.
Incorrect.
No? Okay, was it Bo Dallas?
Nope.
No? Damn, well, I don't know. Who was it?
The first NXT champion was Seth Rollins, who defeated Jinder Mahal in the finals to be crowned as the first NXT champion.
Oh, no kidding. Well, DJ Tags was wrong with Finn Balor. He tried.
Yeah.
He failed like I did. So at least I'm not the only failure tonight. Damn it, I fail almost all the time. But I was on a roll. I think I've gotten almost all your wrestling every week. Haven't I?
Yeah, you've been pretty good, and I'm surprised I stumped you with one that's like something like newer in the last few years.
Yeah, you did get me on that. And Mike Shamp wanted to thank you for picking his entry for getting that Power and Honor catalog too.
Absolutely. We'll have to do another one. Zen Brown, just come on back, Tyler.
Come on back, Tyler. Yeah, so he could stump me with all them damn things at the end. Yeah, because this was the first time I was stumped with Nathan. But yeah, I'm pretty much stumped every time when Tyler asks, even if it's something I absolutely love. When he got me on those 2 Friday the 13th
well,
ones.
I mean, movie quotes to me seem a lot harder than wrestling trivia. I don't know.
I don't know. Some of it, a lot of that gets me. But see you guys next time.